Okay, so here we go. This is the this would be video 4. Yes, video 4. We've done 3 other videos so far, and as you can see, I've just now completed the stippling part of this of the skulls on this cup. It does take me a little while to do that, but as you can see, we'll rotate it around so you can see the skulls. You can see that the stippling does add that nice value to it and the coloration that I like, well, the valuation I like. Now, the next step that I'm going to do is I've started adding in a aspect of background because there's still a lot of negative space going on here, and I want to give it a little bit more depth. You know, I'm always, for some reason, I'm addicted to making layers. I don't know why. So what I've started doing is I just start drawing some organic lines, you know, in between the pieces to, and then I'll follow this one across. What I like to try and do is I like to try and follow the lines and create them so they create a pattern that goes around the backside there, right? And maybe look and see where my different lines are going here. This one goes there. This one will come this way and go up here. And it just starts to give me this aspect. Now, let's see, I think I'm going to add one more set of lines here, maybe around the bottom. Give it like a couple of, maybe not. So now I've got my lines drawn in here. What am I going to do here? I can stipple, but I've already got stippling going on. So I just really kind of come back in and I add in personally right now. And this may change. I just started doing this. Is like cup number 3 that I'm doing this on, maybe 4. And what I'm trying to do is just, I'm going to give almost hatching lines in between that pattern to give it something else, you know, something more texture, something more visual here to catch on and just give the hand something else to feel. It's not just about the visual for me on making these particular pieces, but it's also about that sense of touch, of feel, of texture. You know, you've probably heard your poor high school art teacher or elementary art teacher talk about texture. What does a work of art feel like or appear to feel like? I'm going with the, what does the work actually feel like? Yeah. So, and we'll see how these really turn out, but I think they're going to actually work well. They're going to just give a little bit of extra something there. Now, as you can see, by doing this, it creates more little goobers. More goobers that I have to brush off later. That's okay. I don't have to pay myself 25 cents when I say that word. Probably should though. Clay goobers, clay goobers, clay goobers, clay goobers. I now owe myself $1. I don't have $1. So that's where we're at. This is, like I say, step number 4, which is, you know, brush off the excess. Come in and put in that next set of line work, which it is line work on a curved surface, and sometimes you have to think about how you hold your hand to create the lines that will go around the piece. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to brush off the excess clay goobers. Got to get them out of there. I'm going to get the little buggers off there so that it will be nice and smooth and they won't inhibit the next step, which is in this process here. I actually now come back with a different bison tool. This one I really love too. This one is actually a square tip. But I like the square tip because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in and holding it at a slight angle, I come in and I refine my line just a little bit. And I like to make sure those lines, they will get filled with clay goobers, and this is just a good way to clean those clay goobers off the piece, get them out of that line, and I'll come around and this will be my, also as you can see, it's going to make them a little bit wider, a little bit deeper, a little bit darker. I don't come back and redo my stippling. I let the stippling stand. The stippling, I spent a pretty good amount of time thinking about that and making those marks for the stippling. So this is just to clean up the spaces, the line work itself. And depending on, you know, how you want to go about this, you know, depends on when you do it, depends on how, it's going to determine how much cleanup you actually have to do. This piece is a little soft, so it's going to require a little bit more cleanup than some of my others that I work on when the clay's not as soft. But that's okay. That's why I have my soft bristle brush and my square tip Sgraffito tool. Do you have to use a square tip? No, you can use just your round tip, but like I say, I like the square tip because it does, I find it cleans a little bit better than the round tip does. Gives it a little bit more line depth to the piece. So that's actually going to be the next probably 20 minutes will be spent just clearing. Now I do use a groggy clay, so I will find that sometimes the grog will catch up in the tool and want to pull, and that's just, you know, that's part of the nature of using the groggy clay. A clay with less grog is not going to give you that. You know, you're not going to have to fight with little bits of grog or kyanite, whatever they decide to use, sand, coming out when you are carving in the clay. You won't worry about those little tiny little bits of rocks that you might hit, but as you know, if you use clay that doesn't have grog, you're going to have other issues. You know, forming issues could occur. For me, the firing style I do, the clay that doesn't have a tooth to it becomes somewhat of an issue. It doesn't hold up as well. You put a non-toothy clay into a wood fire kiln, especially some of these wood fire kilns that I keep putting my work into, and you'll find they have a tendency to warp. And nobody likes warpy cotton. No, nobody likes their pots to be warpy. That's just, you know, want to avoid the warp as much as possible. So I go with this particular. Again, it's also got its static aspect to it. Like I say, when it goes through a reduction, it's a beautiful, beautiful deep brown clay body, very warm. But that's nice in the fact that it gives a value, gives a color to the areas that remain unglazed, underglazed on my pieces. What's really interesting is the underglazes really don't change that much when applied over this deep brown clay body. I've been using underglazes on white clays for a long time, and I find that even with the dark clays, the Amico Velvet underglazes that I like to use, just hold up well still. I mean, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about that. They hold up well. They hold up well in wood fires, and it just makes, well, for me, it makes my piece. They work well for my work, my aesthetic, my pieces. So, if you've seen my work and you've seen those, as I like to call it, my Technicolor dreamscapes, then you know that those are Amico Velvet underglazes, fired to cone 10 in reduction, and they just pop. So this is, like I say, this is the fun step, man, because I'm getting closer to being finished with this particular pot. And then I can start on the next one. I've got 6 more in the dry box, or rather in the wet box, that are going to get worked on next. And that is really going to be the driving force for today, is to try and get all of those done. Since each one takes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to really complete, it will be a long day in the studio here, and that's okay. You know, what else are you supposed to do on a Sunday? I guess rest, but no rest for the dirty artist here. So I'm going to go ahead now and say, if you like anything, if you got any questions, drop a comment. You got any suggestions? Always looking for new ideas to utilize in my work, not steal. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer them for you. And if I don't know the answer, I will make something up that sounds very professional and make you believe it is the answer. So, and if you want to see more of these weird, wacky videos, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button down there. This is going to be the last. This is, like I say, last step in the process. Come over here, knock a little bit more of these little clay goobers off. Ding ding, 25 cents. Don't forget, give me my 25 cents. But as you can see, by doing that, it now starts to give a little bit. Let me see if I can get a better viewpoint here. There we go. You can see that decoration right there. You can see that texture that ends up on the piece itself. There we go. And it just gives it a little extra something to feel in the hand. All right, have a great day.